Cheevo, guys!
What up, guys? This is
Cheevo, guys!
back here again with another achievement guide. Today, we're going to be focusing on Red Death. This game was published by EastAsiaSoft and it was developed by Panda Indie Studio. This pair is also responsible for releasing Project Starship just a few weeks ago. Also a really easy completion or a platinum trophy. This game is going to be very similar. It's also a shoot 'em up game. Overall, this is going to take about 15 to 30 minutes to get our full completion or platinum trophy. It is a bit skill dependent. This game offers 18 achievements and a total of 1000 gamer score, or if you're playing on PlayStation, it does offer a platinum trophy. I also want to throw out there that the achievements are accumulative. So for example, there is an achievement for killing 4 bosses. You don't necessarily need to kill 4 bosses in one playthrough. You can kill the first boss over and over amongst 4 playthroughs. So let's go ahead and start up our game. We're going to dive into some gameplay and some tips. So as I mentioned before, this is a shoot 'em up game. You can move from left to right. You can also move forward and backward. Now, if you don't know what you're doing, this game is going to seem pretty intimidating at first. However, if you know what you're doing, it actually ends up being pretty easy. First and foremost, I want to talk about the stars. So the bullets look really similar to the stars. They're the exact same color. The bullets that are shot by the enemies are circular. However, when you defeat an enemy, it'll explode into these little stars that are the same color. These will automatically magnetize toward you so you can collect them. Now, as I mentioned before, they are the same color, so it can get a bit confusing because you have all these bullets coming at you on the screen, along with these bonus stars when you defeat enemies. So just know that you don't have to dodge the stars, you only need to dodge the circular bullets. The second and most important tip I have for you guys is to hold the left trigger. The game slows down if you hold the left trigger. Otherwise, if you're playing the game in full speed, it's going to be pretty hard to get that 80,000 high score achievement. So if you're having trouble with the game, make sure you hold the left trigger to slow the game down. This is going to make it a lot easier to dodge bullets. Now, in the beginning of the game, I recommend trying not to die until you get to the first boss. This little skull boss appears to be a boss, but it's actually not classified as one. You'll know when we face the first boss, it's going to be coming up. The screen kind of turns to red, and you're going to see that the boss meter appears at the top of the screen. It's coming up right here. Now, if you don't die, you're going to have a full overload meter by the time you get to the first boss. This is going to make it really easy to defeat the first boss. Just press B to use your overload and aim at the eye in the center of the boss to defeat him. Now, we do get an achievement for defeating our first boss. We also get an achievement for defeating 2 bosses and 4 bosses. As I mentioned before, these are cumulative achievements, so you don't necessarily need to get to the 4th boss in the game. We just need to beat the first boss at least 4 times. You are also going to get an achievement for using your first overload. There is an achievement to use 4 overloads total, so you want to make sure that you use the overload whenever you can. I recommend just stacking it when you're trying to kill the first boss, because you're going to use the overload to defeat him in most cases anyway. You don't necessarily need an overload to defeat the first boss, but it definitely makes it easier and a lot faster. Now, next I want to talk about dying. So each time you start up a game, you get 5 lives total. We do have achievements or trophies related to losing ships or dying. We get one after losing 3 ships, 9 ships, and then finally 18 ships. So to get our full completion or platinum trophy, you're going to need to die at least 18 times. As with the other achievements, this one is going to be cumulative as well. Now, as I mentioned before, we also do have achievements related to our high score. This is really the only achievement that you have to get in one run. This is because the score isn't cumulative, so you do need to get 80,000 points in one run. We're going to get an achievement once we get to 20,000, 40,000, and then finally 80,000 points. Now, you're going to realize while you're playing, sometimes when you defeat an enemy, it'll drop a pickup. This is typically a little square with the letter inside of it. For example, the power-ups with the S inside are ships, and the power-ups with the L inside are the laser power-ups. We get achievements for collecting 5, 10, and then finally 20 power-ups. Other than that, guys, after you get to 80,000 points, you can go ahead and just die. Just a heads up, the achievement doesn't typically pop right at 80,000. I believe it pops after you die and you exit back to the title menu. Now, most of these achievements should be pretty easy for you guys, being that most of them are cumulative. The only one I can imagine people maybe having some issues with is the 80,000 high score, so this one might take some practice. As I mentioned before, the biggest tip I can give you guys is to hold left trigger to slow the game down. Now after you got most of those other achievements, more than likely you're just going to need to play a few more times to mop up the 4 bosses and the 5 overloads. To do this, simply try to dodge all of the attacks and not get hit. You should have a full overload meter by the time you reach the first boss. This will kind of help you knock out 2 birds with 1 stone. You can defeat a boss and use the overload. So just rinse and repeat that a couple times and then you're sure to get your last achievements or trophies. Other than that, you should have a full completion or platinum trophy. As always, I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment and don't forget to like and subscribe.